All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome back from a beautiful weekend. At least I hope everyone had a beautiful weekend and your families are blessed. You're blessed. And taking a look at bubbles here this morning for starters. Got a couple of things that are performing okay on the day. Virtual's protocol looks pretty nice. Injective, Aave, Morpho. Couple of others would be Arrow and Pengu. Couple of down ones today, just which is kind of surprising. Monero, Hash, Trump, Curve, Pump, not surprised, and zero, straight going to zero. All right. But overall, the markets are generally just going sideways at the top um, for the better half. All right, let's jump on over here on Bitcoin's chart real quickity, quick. So we have this consolidation area here. Uh, right in here where we topped out at briefly. I'm just going to say locally, where we topped out at locally, as I covered on Friday stream. It was the 786 Fibonacci retracement level. It was the VWAP, the all-time VWAP. It was the 400 EMA, the weekly pivot low. So there were a couple of things that suggested that price action would see some sort of resistance right there. And then the thing that I wanted you to look for was the once you got the rejection, look for price action to come back up to put in a lower high at the golden pocket 786, which you're going to find that a lot of your altcoins did end up doing that. So if I go from here on the initial drop down to the low here, and let me just put on the golden pocket 786 here, you'll see that that is basically what you got. And you'll see that across the board on like Solana, BNB, I think thinking Hyperliquid. I know that I posted like a few that I could see. We're going to get a correction on the 4 hour time frame. It took a little extra time as it was the weekend, and you know how price action moves on the weekend where it can easily be pushed because of the low volume. Okay. The low volume, the lower liquidity can easily move the market. So we kind of, just kept pushing up a little bit more on some things. Bitcoin did not, which means Bitcoin dominance dropped a bit over the weekend. Um, so Bitcoin did not do that. It came up and it respected it, and it got to push down, push back down. Some of the other ones they pushed up a lot more. Boy, when I tell you a lot more, I I lost an account. I lost my account. It's a sub account that I have on Blowfin, but nonetheless, I got wiped out on that account. I just wanted to share that with you, and it was my fault. I took a trade on Solana, and I was taking the short on Sol. I feel very confident in my move. And regardless of whether you feel confident or not, my thing was I should have had my stop loss in place, and I did it. We got a wick up and then the flash down. And when that wick up happened, it wiped out my entire account. I was very heartbroken. I couldn't cry though because it was my fault. It was my fault because I didn't put the stop loss in place. So all of my work that I put in, everything just got wiped out. I just figured I'd share that with you. It's very, it's not embarrassing. It's a, we're constantly learning. Let me just put it to you like that. We're constantly learning to manage our risk, which can be a very hard thing, and especially for me because I can get a little cocky sometimes in my trading and just think I know. And that wick came up and it wiped out my account. So um, I'm not gonna be able to get that back. Not with zero in it. I can't get it back with zero in it, and I'm just letting it go. I'm just letting that go. So, lesson learned though. Lesson definitely learned, and I don't want to experience that again. But anyway, Bitcoin trying to see the pushback up here this morning. Still holding the range. Still holding the range highs here, but just kind of sideways. I'm gonna tell you what I have here on the chart. So on my chart right now, it's just the range that we're in with the fixed volume range profile. And the white line here at the top and the white line here at the bottom is just another area high and value area low. So there, these two are value area highs and value area lows just based on the percentile of participation. So if price pushes beyond this one right here and manages to clear it without coming back below it, I would start to look back up here at the 786 where that white line is located at. So the 78780. I'll show you that. Because let me delete this right here. It will move, so I may end up having to delete it. It just depends. So if you click on your, first of all, let me just explain this right here. So this is from the peak, and it's extending all the way over here. You can't tell it from this line down there, but it does extend all the way over here to the left. And if you click on it, and you adjust your value area. They put it on 70, which is just rounding up what the standard. The standard would be 68. 68 is like it's like their golden pocket. So the VRVP, it's a bell curve. So on the bell curve, you'll have 68, you'll have 95, you'll have, and just to say 100, okay? So the two white lines are just the 95. You see. So they're just a 95. Now the initial one down here, the initial one that I did wasn't based on the 95 initially, but then I decided to go ahead and just do the 95. Some of them may or may not um, work out the same. I think I did this one right here. This white line right here, though, initially when I did it, I was just copying the measuring out the uh, anchored VWAP. So if I put on anchored VWAP, and I'm pretty sure that I have, no, not that one, but this one up here. I'm pretty sure that I've covered this with you before, but when it comes to your, let me just check on my trade real quick and see if I got stopped out on that Bitcoin short. I did. No, that's not it. That's not it. Why am I not on that chart? Hold on. Did I take a chart trade on the wrong thing? Oh, I was just clicking on the wrong thing. Okay, no, I'm fine. All right. So I've shared this before, but where you have your volume, I'm gonna hide this right here for a second. So where you have your volume at on your chart is where I will plot my anchor VWAP. So I think I still have volume in here. I do. So I still have volume in here. This happens to be the strongest volume bar right here. So when you drop your anchor VWAP, which is going to give you information faster than the fixed volume range is, it's going to give it to you way faster because it collects data from elsewhere. And the volume profile price action has to extend out to the right in order for it to start to calculate. But as soon as you get a high volume, you can just drop an anchor VWAP in there. And from where it anchors at, that's the most volume that you have off of that candle. So you can see that that anchor VWAP line shows that the most participation took place right here. So when price dropped and came back up, the 786 made a lot of sense for it to come here. And again, like I said, your fixed volume range profile, fixed range volume profile is that data is going to collect slower than your anchor VWAP is going to collect the data. Okay, so I tend to do this sometimes. I moved away from it a little bit, and then over the weekend I was like, let me just bring that style back in. And so that's what you get right there. If I zoom in, you can see it a little bit better. That's what that is anchored to. And it is the initial point. So where that volume came in on that candle is right there. And it just happens to line up. A lot of times you'll see that it's going to line up with either your VWAP. I'm not your VWAP. It's either going to line up with your point of control or it's going to line up with the value area high or low. And in this case, it just happened to be the value area high right there. So that's that. And that's where that's coming from. And then I showed you that. So uh, just watching the extended ranges here. Since this VWAP is flat, until that changes or something curves, I'm going to keep this on the chart saying that this is what price action may be able to do on a down move. Could just be back into here, and on an up move could just be back into here. In here, what I use is two, 2.5, and three. Okay, you may want to do something different, but I use two, 2.5, and three, assuming that price action would not do three. Uh, Three is less common of a target to be hit. It can be hit and it will be hit depending on how volatile that asset is. But I do three. Maybe you want to do two, three, and four, or two, three, and 3.5, something like that. That may be more of your taste. But on a move down, when I'm not feeling as convinced by the did I leave that down here at the bottom? Yeah, when I'm not feeling as convinced by this, I go with this. I go with Anchor VWAP. I just, yeah, I go with Anchor VWAP. It just seems to be better in my opinion, but to each its own. You can just work with them together. So that's where I'm at here. And I set it under there because that's the priority for me. So I am in a little bit of a Bitcoin short as we came up. I did get stopped out initially. You know why? Because I didn't wait on the swing failure or anything like that. I just kind of jumped in here this morning and didn't really care. Um, but it's very possible that this is going to get stopped out, especially when market opens. I'm still looking for what I really want, and so this is just me just trying to be a part of something. I'm using very little capital as I do this right now, but what I really want is to see a mean reversion at least on the 4 hour time frame. There has been zero mean reversion on a fast reversion. Sure, you've gotten that. I'll tell you another thing that I'm doing in here too, because the market is barely pulling back. And it's a good idea to do this, especially when the market. Oh, let me put that back on. It's a lot of noise. I just didn't want to disturb you with all the noise from all these different lines you're seeing in here. I'll just turn off Anchor VWAP and just leave that on there. What I do in cases like this, if I just desperately want to trade, desperately want to trade, is I just change my settings. So right now, let me see. I just adjust my settings for a faster. Oh, this one isn't adjusted. So let me adjust it. I don't think maybe I didn't have to adjust Bitcoin because it's behaving properly. It may be one that I didn't have to adjust for that reason. But I will adjust to like a seven, something like this, so I can see where it's extended on a seven and I can see where it's extended to the upside. But I don't, yeah, it looks like I didn't have to do that with Bitcoin. There are some other ones, some altcoins that I did have to adjust for because they were not coming down this low. They were probably only doing somewhere around a 50% retracement or something like that. So Bitcoin is fine in this case. We are coiling, obviously, with the sideways range that we had here all weekend long. Um, Here on the 1 hour time frame, we had a little momentum break. Did I change it over here? Is that what I did? That's what I did. I'm like, why does it look different? Okay, so I had to change. I changed it over here to get a faster response. I don't know why I did it on this 1 hour time frame, just to see where momentum was getting pretty low for how high our RSIs have been, right? So I did it like this right here to just, you know, we're extended and the RSIs are pretty high. We're more than likely going to bounce from anything down here this low with a 20 read. So I do it. I do a 20. I don't do 30. I do 20 and I do 80. And that's just my preference, 20 and 80. But let me set this back on 14 because the last thing I want to do is change a 1 hour. It was basically just for the um, It was supposed to just be for the 15-minute time frame and not this one. This anchor, not anchor, well, the anchor VWAP, you can see where I have the volume at down here. So the most volume came in right here around 67,982. And we're just, yeah, we'll leave it at that. 67,982 was the most volume that came in here on Bitcoin before we started the stair step and climb our way up. So it's an area that I will be looking for at some point if price does make its way back down here. It is an area of interest, um, price action. But I don't know. It's just, ugh. Things are just still a little bit too high for me to want to take a long. But if it looks right on the 15-minute, if it looks like fear came into the market on the 15-minute time frame, I will take one. Um, and it'll just be based on that alone. But for the most part, I'm just looking to short right now, which is probably not the most ideal thing, but I am looking to short. On the 4 hour time frame, oh, I hope I don't skip too many times. Okay, so on the 4 hour time frame, you can see how we were squeezing in here pretty bad, and then you can see how we flipped right through here. So that's what I was looking at. On Friday when I posted like specific charts that I could see that were probably going to get a little bit of a correction. And then the MACD finally turned negative, and it still remains negative, and the delta still remains below the zero line, just kind of off and on with this consolidation here. So we could be looking, of course, if you're counting it and you're assuming that this is just a wave four that we're building in here, then you would be looking for a fifth leg to the upside here, which means we should see in this case, maybe price action. Let me see, how high did we get? 95. Maybe the RSI caps at around 85, and then plunders open, because what you'd be looking for is bearish divergence on this RSI, which means that when price action comes back up or makes an attempt to come back up, it's not going to come up with the same momentum because it's just retail with reads like this, just retail. But I really want a mean reversion, which would mean price action comes down to here. Right now, we're just doing as much as a 7. So that would be the same as me changing this to a 7 on the RSI here. And then you'll see that we're only doing a 7. So we're only doing like a, yeah, that would be your mean reversion, that orange one right there. That's a 7. And when I say 7, that's what I'm referring to. Like a mean reversion on the 7 RSI. That's as much as you're getting right now. I really want this. So standard 75, 122. 75, 122 is what that's going to be right now, at least for the next hour, if we get it or don't get it. And this box is just a golden pocket 786 that we have been ranging inside of here. Yeah. And this was the other thing I was looking at. I was looking at how much squeezing we started to do here on the 4 hour time frame. And it took a while. So this bottom line right here, it didn't start to rise until we got right in here. And that's the reason why I started looking at it and calling out certain altcoins, is because of that. Once that rise happened, it makes a difference. And whether or not some sort of a correction is going to come in. But we're pretty stable on this 4 hour time frame here. The daily, the resistance that we were looking at, the VWAP from the all-time high, that was one thing. And let me turn that off so you don't have too many lines. Am I missing an anchor VWAP in here? Okay. And then, of course, like I said, the 400, make sure it's on the EMAs. Yep, yes, it is. Nope, it's not on this daily time frame. It's on the weekly time frame. So forgive me for that. And I'm missing something. Oh, it doubled up on me. Okay, so it is here. For some reason, it was set on the 200. I don't know why, but your 400 EMA is where you capped out at. So we talked about this on Friday about that 400 EMA and how they tend to. I use them together. I don't just look at the 200. I think that that's suicide to just look at the 200. So they work together because as often as price action taps to 200, it taps that 400 just as much. So I always look at the 4 and 2 and I use them as like a pocket, like you do a golden pocket 786. That's how I do it because again, as often as it touches this 200, it touches this 400 just as much. And 400 tends to be the rejection point for it. Now, they can come in with some shenanigans, obviously. It can always do the shenanigan stuff and push it higher. But more than likely price would come back and lose that. And I took you through a walkthrough of showing you just how often, if it's not two, then it's going to be four. If it's not two, which is green, it's going to be four. And you're going to see some sort of if it's not two, it's going to be four. So that's why I always go with the two and the four. And I can go on forever and ever and ever, just showing you how your two and your four, they collaborate together, and that's my thing. It's not two, it's gonna be four. Not two, it's gonna be four. So great rejection point um, for Bitcoin price action. I unfortunately just didn't feel like taking it right there the other day. I just don't know what they're gonna do with the BS because a lot of it at this point, it's a lot of spot buying though. I will give it that. It is a lot of spot buying at the moment. Let's see how things work out when markets open today. But I do implore you to do 400 EMA if you haven't. Um, Maybe a little cleaner for me on mines would be if I take away this 56 would be 224. Sometimes it comes in, most of the time it actually comes in a little bit cleaner. So you can see how it raised that one up. So this particular type just comes in a little bit cleaner. So that's what that would look like for me at 224 right there. But EMAs are just as good. So that's your EMA situation right there. Let me turn this candle color off. And again, your anchor VWAP, which is from the all-time high. Um, that was the other thing we were talking about, where that you were hitting the pivot lows right here, and that's acting as major resistance here at the pivot low right here. It's a lot to count for in terms of having a plan for what price action can do. Um, I know all eyes are on this high right here, which makes sense. Your volatility range is still up to here at the moment. Can it push through it? Yeah, which is what happened to me with Solana when I lost my account on Friday. Um, that wick up and then it wicked down on me. Like I was shorting, it wicked up on me, stopped me out, wiped out my account, and then it dropped. And then it dropped. But yeah, so the prior lows here is acting as resistance right there. Prior lows acting as resistance. And all eyes are on this section right here. This again, the volatility range. I'm just looking at Bollinger Band when I tell you volatility range, and I just put the lines in here, um, as opposed to the having the Bollinger and all of its noise on the chart. So you can see it's actually pushing up a little higher, which tells me that increased interest to drive prices higher at this point. I could adjust this and push these up to match the new information. But if price does come up, maybe you want to start looking at, if it's taking out this high right here, you might want to start looking at your low right in here, which is slightly above that standard deviation too, but maybe just take into account the lows right there at that point, 86,830, just on a plan basis, if it does, because I do have to adjust these lines right here, since the Bollinger is turning up, which tells me that again, it's more buying pressure. And maybe we get through this wall here today, these lows right here today. Mm. I like the fact that Trading View makes it so easy. Um, I am going to adjust these just because Trading View just snaps it into place against the indicator. So I like that. And that's what that is. Trust me, this works very well for the most part, unless you're in Solana, I guess. It works very well, especially when you're in price discovery. You don't know where price is going. I've done this a lot of times. I've given sniper entries just based on doing something like that. And it always has to be a time frame. Usually I like for it to be a time frame that's higher than the one that I'm on, but I'm going with this weekly because it's I'm really not expecting um, a big move, but it's possible. It's possible. So that underbelly right there, that 86, that could actually be a target if price action is going to get in here and take out this high. It'll have some sort of a struggle right here, some sort of a struggle right here at these lows. Um, that actually lines up with that volume node right there too. All right. I noticed this. There's nothing to validate it right now, because if we get that push up, it'll be invalidated. But slight bearish divergence here on the weekly time frame. We talked about that on Friday as well, that we were seeing a little slight bearish divergence, but nothing is confirmed on that. MACD looks nice. You're getting the cross of your MACD above your delta, which is always a positive thing. But again, slight bear dip there on the MACD as well, and the delta. So we'll see. If this continues to be a resistance area, then we will have the bear dip and we will see the pushback down. The mean reversion is just the thing that makes sense to me, and we're just not seeing it just yet. But the mean reversion makes a lot of sense to me. We're just not seeing it. Yeah, and really just depending on what time frame you use, VWAP is always going to show up different based on time frame. So when you anchor your VWAP on your monthly time frame, it's showing you that you're actually hitting that VWAP there. Price isn't going too much further. That's all I can say. It's just not going. It's not going too much further as far as I can tell. Um, It's that mean reversion. It's just something that's going to take place. Um, so you can push through right there. Then it rejected back below it. Um, it tapped it right there. Actually pushed through it ever so slightly. You can barely see it because that VWAP is colored red, but it did snipe through it a little bit right there and got the rejection. And then it's hitting it again. So just, I mean, a couple of takeaways here. And then there's this. Um, with just a few days left. So this is a big deal right about now. As I shared with you before, historically, if RSI closes above 50, you don't make a new low off the monthly time frame. Historically, you still get the pullback, which means you buy, but historically, when the RSI closed above 50, you didn't make a new low. Your low was in. And although I was looking for a swing below this one, we didn't get it. We came down very close to it, which maybe it's just different this time from me reading it using the RSI. Maybe it's different. The historical floor, just like before, we crossed back above the historical floor. We roll back over, and then I started to look for this to take place, which is simply where momentum capped at prior, which is what I do. So if I drag this over, you see it's where momentum capped at the first time. It's what I was looking for. And we came down and kissed it and bounced away, as opposed to over here. This one right here is actually slightly different. It would have been off of this one, but once it makes a pivot and it swing fails, I go with the one. I go with the more local pivot, and I look for the swing fail off of that. And then this, of course, is this one. So I look for the swing on that, but we just kissed it this time instead of dropping below it and coming back up. But again, historically, when you close above the 50, you don't make a new low. That's it. Your low is in. And you can see that here where it closed. RSI closed above 50. You don't come back. RSI closed above 50. You don't come back and make a new low. RSI above 50, close above 50. You don't come back. So if we do in the next couple of days close above that 50 here, you're not coming back. You're not. You're going to close with, you may not take out that wick, but you're going to have a higher close. You're going to have a higher close on your monthly time frame. Wick aside, no bear div in sight. You're just closing above there. The MACD, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I think we did drop below it. No, we didn't. Sometimes it closes below it, sometimes it doesn't, and it just whips back up. This right here was a lot different in 2022. We had a lot of news impacting the price of Bitcoin and flushing it down. So sometimes it'll close below it, and sometimes it won't. Like it closed below it right here as well. There was a big catalyst that took place back here in 2015 as well. But sometimes it's below it, sometimes it's not. Above it, below it, above it, below it, above it. I guess we up and down. Above it, and then next time maybe we'll be below it, and this time we're still holding up above it. Obvious bullish divergence on Delta. Major bull div on Delta. But a few days will confirm for me whether or not we're closing above this prior close here and above the 50 on the RSI on the monthly time frame. I'm trying to think what else that could have been here for Bitcoin. All right, nothing right now. The little short is okay for now. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get stopped out, and I just entered this. I did not enter the back test over here. I wanted to do altcoins. Remember, I was telling you guys that I wanted to trade altcoins because whatever Bitcoin does, they're gonna do. They're gonna do better. Um, but I don't know. Solana just killed me. Solana just really killed me. I should show you that Solana. Let me see. Is it straight up liquidated my account? The one thing that made me feel not as trashy as I could have felt on Friday, I thought about Leopold. I thought about the fact that that dude lost $49 billion. Like they wiped him for 49 billion. I'm like, I can't even compare to that. But my money was my money, and that candle killed me. Let me see previous positions here. Oh boy. Okay, I know I got liquidated, but can you give me? It's funny. Hold on. Hmm. I guess because it's Friday, it won't give me the share link on it. But yeah, I got wiped out. I got wiped out. um, on Soul, um, which I'm in a little bit of a short position on Soul now. I'm gonna leave Solana alone. I'm revenge trading, if you want to call it that. I'm stuck wanting to get back at it for wiping me out. But it was this situation right here. I was shorting this candle right here. It really caught me off guard. It really honestly caught me off guard. I was sleepy. I was sleepy on Friday as well. I was sitting in my office chair. I had a relaxed back. I dozed off real quick. I woke up. I don't know. I may have had my eyes closed for about a good 5 minutes. I don't even know what it was. I woke up and I looked at Blowfin. I didn't see any lines on the chart, showing me where my entry was or any of that. And then I look to my right and I see my account gone. This took me out right here. And then it did that. I wish it had happened in opposite. It didn't. It took me out and then it did that. And you see it on the 4 hour, you can see how it worked. It spiked up and then dropped down. I was under the impression it wasn't going to get through here. I was under the impression it wasn't. Um, and it's just a you can see these wicks. It's a very volatile stock, and I think I'm gonna be done with this one. And you see right through here, I was like, yeah, it ain't going up through there. I got cocky with it. I didn't put that stop in. That candle came up, did that, and then it dropped down. Wiped out. Just wiped out. But anyway, yeah, this was the money I was supposed to make. Big loss, man. Big freaking loss. So anyway, I got into this last night. I was looking again on the 4 hour time frame. Solana was one that I had posted like, hey, this is let me drop that. You see this? I saw this and I was like, yep, going down. You're not coming up there. You're not doing any other things. So I thought I just didn't expect that to happen. But still, it was my fault because I should have had my stop loss in place just in case some shenanigans like this take place, because they will take place. Um, I saw that. I was looking at the pressure right through here. I did not wait for the confirmation. That was another thing. I front ran it. I front ran the confirmation on the drop down, and just because I could see how tight it was right here, I was like, okay, the band, the standard deviation two, should be like a cap point on it. Even if it pushed through it a little bit, I wasn't thinking it was going to do that. Um, but it did, and then it gave me what I was looking for, but I didn't have any money to take it, so it just went down without me, and that's how that worked. So this was one that I was looking at on Friday. uh, Solana, and I think I do have this 15 minute. I don't. I changed it back to 14. But if you go with the 7, um, I didn't have it set like this at all until the weekend. You can see where you're likely to see some sort of a bounce and where you're likely to see some sort of rejection. Again, 80 and 20. Not really doing 20 because it's not really doing 20. I set it for 21 um, as far as my signals go. But if it's coming up here, then you might see some sort of a slight pullback. Or if it's coming down here at these lows, then you might see some sort of a bounce. I'm just waiting on 4 hour at this point, even though I do have this little short position open right now on, and it's only a 2 to 1 right now. This moved. The value area low moved. The value area low was right here, but it has risen since I looked at it. The It's actually this one right here. This is where VWAP volume comes in at off of this candle here to the downside. VWAP volume comes in right here. It might still be where 95 is at if that hasn't moved. Okay, so that is, and then this one slightly moved down a little bit. I'm not gonna bother with readjusting it. I'm just gonna leave it where it is. But this was much lower. It was down here because we were tapping into a 30, which 30 came up. Okay, so I see why it came up. I can see why the value area low came up because RSI read of 30 came up also. Uh, my white line right here. It's typically where you're over, let's just say, relatively weak. You're relatively weak anytime you do something like that. And again, if you're not using that, which I don't know if you are or not, I would just go with the EMAs. It's a second. Let me change that to a 400. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But the 200, it will be your guide to let you know how steep you are going on your RSI. Usually when they don't match, which 37, which means it's coming into it way too soon. It tends to mean it's going to roll over, but uh, I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that. So if it does, then I guess I can just look right here. I can keep this like I have it and look for 400 to be tapped, or this liquidity down here at the lows to be taken right here off of Solana. Oh, I hate Solana right now. And it's not Solana's fault, it's my fault. But I freaking hate this thing. I hate it. I so hate it. The boyfriend tried to give me back my cash that I lost. He tried to give it back. And I was like, you can't do that. It's rewarding bad behavior. He really tried to give me back that money because he saw me. He saw how my face looked. And I just said, don't do it because I screwed up. All right. Zcash. So Zcash, just like everything else that I cover, altcoins or Bitcoin, I really want a 4 hour mean reversion before I take a long trade. Like I want to be long again, but besides the Solana short and the Bitcoin short, which I think is going to get stopped out because we keep going to the top. If it keeps focusing on one direction, it's hammering. Like Bitcoin is hammering at that value area high right now. As long as it does that, then I expect to be stopped out because it's going to try to push up higher. Um, but Zcash, just like everything else, I really want to see a 4 hour mean reversion. For Zcash, I am looking at potentially right here at about let's just say 700. It's 699. We'll just call it 700. If I could get a move back into here, I fire off a long position for Zcash. I don't know if I'm going to get that. I know that Zcash has been trading in between standard deviation 1 and standard deviation 2. I know that much. And that therefore I have this box right here. And this box is simply where standard deviation 1 and 2 meet. I may need to adjust this. I did it off of a 4 hour time frame. I may need to adjust it. But if you see here, it has been its playbook. So yeah, it has moved a lot. It Hold on, let me make sure I didn't do this. No, I did it off of a daily. Forgive me. I did it off of the daily. So it's basically been coming back to standard deviation 2, just tapping on standard deviation 2 and bouncing off, tapped into standard deviation 2 and bounced off. It may just come back to here. If I could really get a move back down here on a daily pivot, which is at 700, I'd be happy to take a long position on Zcash. Does that happen? It seems like that would be a huge drop, and people may start to get a little bearish about that, considering how high price action pushed up into price discovery. Um, and I think that this is okay. Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit of curvature in here, which means that it could start to slow down a little bit for ZEC. Um, but a move back into here would be beautiful, and I would be interested in firing off a long. I think on a first mover down, 700 would be a bounce for it, and then it'll pop up from there. Um, I had just missed it yesterday when it did that drop. into the standard deviation. But it's still trading outside this band, which means that it's extended, and I just won't take it until it comes back in and at least does this one right here. Then I can look to enter into a loan, but I can't do that right now as long as it's still doing that. But basically, in between standard deviation 1 and 2 in the pocket here for ZEC. VWAP didn't matter, and therefore I'm not focusing on VWAP. I can adjust it, and I think I have this VWAP set on. Yes, it's a 1 year VWAP, and it's very well outside of standard deviation um, 3, standard deviation 3. And I look back at it over here at these highs. It didn't do that before. So I don't know where this new energy is coming from because three is generally like a topping point. Like it's rare. It's more rare that it does that. So when it does, it's typically a short. But I would be interested after it comes back in. But outside of this, I'm just not interested. In the stock market, they'll ride above it and stay above it too. But I'm not interested with that. It's a little bit too deviated. Even if I try to push out on a higher anchor point, it's not going to matter. Yeah, it's quite extended. So back into here is something that I'm looking for. Take a long off of it. And I think that was, let's see, yeah. So over here, even over here, you can see when it hit it, it rejected. But right now it's not. It's trading outside of it. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want to mess with it too much while it's doing that. I'm definitely not gonna take no dang on loan. Like that's crazy. I don't care how high it go. I'm not taking no long off no being that extended. So it is what it is. I think the value area high and value area low on a 95 did change because um, my cap was here. I don't know if volume was here over the weekend for Zach, and it wasn't. It wasn't. Volume was not here, but it still made that move. So no on the volume. VWAP volume shows me that the most volume came in right here. So when price came down, you can see how it respected it with no closure below that point. That is the starting of the volume on VWAP right there. And then I'm looking at it like this. Like I said, the fixed volume range profile is a hit or a miss a lot of times for me. And I like to anchor it like this and then look for it to come in like this and for the rejection come in like this. I'm not going to look to short this thing though. I'm going to look to long it once it comes back and it meets something that I'm looking for. But and it's anchored off of the high volume one, of course. Um, why are you down here? Hold on, where are you? I could have sworn I moved these things up. Guess I didn't. But I think that, again, this might have moved, which it did. It did. So it would have either been take a chance off of it coming into, getting extended into the VWAP, which is probably what I would have did because it's going to be VWAP is just, I just like VWAP better. I'm going to delete that. I'm not going to delete this point right here. I'm going to keep that point. But VWAP just does it differently in my opinion, but just put them together if need be. Um, so yeah, we'll see. And I guess if I don't get that, I will look right in here, somewhere right in here. Zec, Hyperliquid. Um, I missed that bounce. I look right before I started the stream. I was like, let me just skim through here, and see uh, what's up. I missed that into the value area low here, and of course, anchor VWAP volume is right here. So in this case, you know the value area low here, it did better. In this case, it did better, but generally, this is where I'm at. Anchor VWAP here. You can see on the sideways where you capping. And again, when I do the anchor VWAP, I do two, 2.5, and three. That's what I look at because three is usually like a rarity. So would have been an awesome short to take. I didn't take that, and now we've broken the demand line here after rejecting off of VWAP. Now we're trying to push up right here, and place to get in was down there. I can't do this one. I think hype was. I can't remember if I mentioned hyperliquid or not that day on a four. Let me see if I did. No, I didn't. I didn't mention hyperliquid. Hyperliquid didn't show me what I see, so I did not mention hyperliquid. Um, it wasn't on the list. So right now, I mean, if it comes back into here. Now we did talk about the fact that the channel, parallel channel, but I think that we managed to really get through that parallel channel ever so slightly, which, like I said, adjust the parallel channel. Let me just turn these off. Um, turn that trend line off right there too. And turn all of that off. Where's our channel? That's weird. Hold on. Don't play with me. Oh, there we go. Let me just go on a weekly. To me, it doesn't look like it would have made much of a difference if I'd adjusted this channel. Say now I have to set you like that. Eh, it doesn't make much of a difference to me. Because it did push through it and now it's coming back below it. Maybe it still holds. Maybe. Hold on, let me just adjust. What did I do? I don't know what I just did. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, that's what I did. Let me unlock that and just make sure that that's on there properly. All right, so yeah, I guess you would have had to been looking at this from a higher time frame to have some hope that that channel was working again. You would have had to have it over here and look for the fail breakout and push back inside of the channel. But that's what we were talking about once again here for Hyperliquid to, yeah. I guess that adjustment made a slight difference. Slight difference. And I suppose on some sort of a move back down, like even Hyperliquid did like that little candle thing, but you see it didn't do that wick crap to the upside like Solana did, which pisses me off. That just really ticked me off. Like that candle just that I didn't see other ones do that. Just Solana. Just Solana wicked up. Crazy as hell. BNB. Um It didn't do like Solana did. And maybe it just looks different because I was on Solana. I don't know. I don't know. They got me. They got me. Again, my fault. But they got me for sure. Um, yeah, so I would just keep looking right in here. Maybe you want to adjust again here on the parallel channel just to take into account the new information. You know what? Let's just do that right away. Um, I'm gonna do it off of that weekly time frame because I can see how it leaves a little slight. Um, I'm gonna put it right there. Let me make sure I fix this back. Yeah, because it leaves a little room up here, and I like that. It leaves a slight little bit of room um, in case Hyperliquid decide it wants to. Yep, I'm about to get stopped out on Bitcoin. It looks like. Yeah, I'm for sure about to get stopped out on Bitcoin. It is what it is. I would look for somewhere right in here that didn't hold the first time for price action to come back into. Really, what I want is a mean reversion, and the mean, as you can see, we're trying to get there, not getting close. That is right in here. So 75, 74 region right here for a mean reversion on the 4 hour time frame would be nice. Right now, again, we're only seeing about a seven period look back, mean reversion, tap, and continuation up. But that would be really nice. I'm not thinking we're do something like this, but you know, stop losses in place. But a 14 period look back is what I really like to see on a mean reversion. But right now, again, we're only seeing sevens, 777 mean reversion be the thing, be the play, and then bounces up off of that. Maybe I should have just taken that long when I before it broke up above this line. I just didn't feel. I don't want to take no longs up here. Even though this one is actually correcting a lot faster than some of the other ones. Hyperliquid is. I just think the whales. It has a lot more whales that love to take profit off of it. So yeah, I got stopped out on Bitcoin. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was focusing too much on taking that out. Let's see what happens right in here. Let me just kind of check to see like what is hitting. Okay, nothing. All right. I will be looking to short this for sure. Get stopped out. Get stopped out. It is what it is. Hyperlipid and the rest of the gang is looking pretty good. I'm not gonna do anything until we at least, and I'm gonna just change this just to push it up there. See if we can't do that. Maybe I could have just hit my line right instead of deleting it. I deleted it. Let me hit hide. And some good liquidity right here, at least. Little equal rejections right here. Mm-hmm. See how those VWAPs turned up a little bit? FOMO is real. People FOMOing long. I personally don't understand the desperation to pay a premium price for something. I don't. When you can get it at a discount. I did a little small 5% with that tap on that one. I was gonna wait for it to get up to that green one, but I did a little 5% entry of my account, so that's very low. It won't hurt me in the least bit. In case I think it could get more volatile, if it can get more volatile, then 5% is just perfect. It just means that if it worked in my favor, I wouldn't make as much, but I don't lose as much, and that's fine. And let me see what the volume looks like too. Okay, it's a bit of an increase in volume. As opposed to the weekend, I guess anything looks like increased volume, right? Just out of curiosity, I wonder where that volume came in on this one. I'm just curious. I'm not using that one at all because it's not the start of my consolidation range. But I'm just curious as to where that volume came in at. So yeah, it's just that shelf right there. Okay, I'm just wondering. I suppose if you were scalping, like you'd be sitting pretty good right now off of a scalp. I wish I could. I can't. I have to get some sort of a swing, but that's decent so far uh, on this attempt. What was the volume anyway? Right here, 682. I know I've said this before. All I know is the 15-minute time frame. Like I have a lot of conversations with artificial intelligence, and I ask like certain things that I see. They told me not to do it, not to do it the way that I'm doing it. But for me, I just go with what I can see. I have to argue with AI sometimes and be like, nah, G, you wrong. You wrong. And I know my IQ is not yours, but it's like you can't tell me what I see in the chart. I know on a 15-minute time frame, anything above 1K will start to slow price action down. In general, in general, and it's going to read 1K, of course, here because it's hard to add in all those numbers. It's more than that, but on a 15-minute chart, if your volume is somewhere around 1K, it tends to slow price action down. So we can do like a walk back and let's see. Maybe this one right here. So at one point, 92K move to the downside. It's going to start the slow price action down. You're either going to consolidate and bounce, or consolidate and then it might go down. Usually, it consolidates and bounce when it does at least 1K, at least 1K. So I like to look for 1K. Like over here, that's 2K, and it stalled out right there. I just know the 15-minute time frame. I can't figure it out for the other time frames because they can be that number can be so off on the other ones. I just know this 15-minute time frame. If it at least pulls 1K and on the Binance chart and spot, then price action is going to slow down. If it's less than that, I don't really pay too much attention to it um, in terms of using it as a strategy, but I will use it as a strategy um, when I see it. And we got that humongous push up off of the low. That was different. Hold on. I'm gonna bring that back for you. You see the 1K volume right there, right here. It did go up a little bit more before it stalled out, but it's not gonna go too much further. Initially, whatever you see 1K on at least 1K, at least 1K. That candle closes. Yeah. Hold on. This volume right here was 4K. Yeah, so if it's above 1K, expect for it to stall out a little bit on a 15-minute time frame. Expect for price action to be getting ready to stall out. So when I was asking AI about it, like, you know, trying to get it to do some math, it was like, first of all, it told me don't do that. Like it told me that I couldn't define it like that. And it's like, yes, I can. I can define it like that. But it gave me, it's like percentages that it might do on a 1 and a 4 and a daily, some percentages that it might do. And I think it was giving me like a 3 to 5 on a 1 hour. I haven't back tested it I haven't back tested it there. I back tested it on a 15-minute time frame. That's why I'm speaking of it. But I haven't back tested the volume on the 1, the 4, the daily, the weekly, or anything like that. I haven't back tested it. But once I do, I will put together a little blueprint and share it with you. once I can get those back tests done. I just know on the 15, if it's at least 1K, it tends to slow price action down. Let me make sure this right here didn't move. Set it back on the 70 and just see if it changed. No, it's still the same. Okay. So on the bell curve, right? So the bell curve, um, again, it's 68, 95. I think they read it like 99. I just call it 100 because even when you do like the fixed range volume profile, they set their standard to 70. So they give it a little bit of an adjustment to 70 on the bell curve, and that's supposed to be what your participation rate is. So it's saying at this point 70% of participants entered right here. 70% of participants. So they go off of the first part of the bell curve. And that gives you your point of control, 70% of participants right here. It's easy. It's pretty easy to define like where your point of control is anyway, because you'll see the most choppiness at your point of control. Like even if it wasn't there and you were just looking at like just price action alone, you can tell this just makes it easier. Uh, Value area high and low, your 70% of participants took their trades right in there. And that's why when you change it to the second point on the bell curve, the 95, you see a move up to here. So 95 participants enter right in there. Then of course your 99, just say 100 is going to be wherever your top is, and that's it. So I do those two. I do the 68 probably isn't going to change much. Right here, it's just 2 clicks down. It didn't move at all. So sometimes it will move slightly. Sometimes you will notice a very slight variation on it, but most of the time, I guess it's pretty, pretty much going to come up the same as that with that 70. So I just do those two, that and the 95, because 100 is just going to be the pivot altogether. Um, if you ever play around with your adjustments on your volume profile, or you just needed extra levels to map out or something like that, um, can give that a try. I don't see a need to change this on the on this one. I think I changed it down here. I think I adjusted it on this one. Just short to show me like when I get up somewhere where it could, but we're good right now. I don't need to add a whole lot of different. stuff to it. I don't want to get analysis paralysis. I tend to not get analysis paralysis. I know what I use everything for, or if I'm not using something, it's just trying to find something that works. Boy, if I was a scalper, that would be it. I could be done for the day. I'm not. Not that. Like uh Bitcoin, boy. Bitcoin. Not enough volume down. Hmm. You know what I didn't cover? I'm gonna just say it real quickly because I know it's about to be 8 o'clock. Actually, 8:30. I'm leaving at 8:30 because I didn't get started until 6:30. So I'm gonna give it a few. I really hate to move away from Bitcoin, guys. I really, 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 really do. But just a couple of quick things about this week, I suppose. All right, let's give it. Let me give you a second here. Bitcoin. All right, if I need to jump back on this Bitcoin chart, I will. I just want to cover a couple of things real quick here because we do have some macro data and we do have some earnings that are going to have an impact on markets this week. Okay, so we had the Chicago Fed National Activity Index that was at 7:30 this morning. Of course, the Treasury auctions is going to be at 10:30, 3 month and 6 month. On Tuesday, we do have new home sales, Richmond Fed manufacturing, and CB consumer confidence. All of that's taking place on Tuesday. Um, Wednesday, a little bit more impactful, is going to be the personal income and spending. MU. Let me edit this MU alert. I'm just going to delete that because I'm not going to be messing with MU too much. Anymore. Personal income spending, durable goods orders, and then, and of course, Nvidia's earnings is going to be a big one. So that's going to have a huge impact on markets come Wednesday, Nvidia earnings. Thursday, Jackson Hole. Trust me, we're starting the week out with big money, kind of making some decisions right now, some very important decisions. And given how extended we are right now, we might. I'm thinking that we're going to get that mean reversion, but that's neither here nor there. Jackson Hole is coming up on Thursday, maybe a little closer we get to Thursday, which on Thursday, whatever happens on Thursday, remember less money is going to be in the market come market close. So on Thursday, Jackson Hole initial jobless claims at 8:30. Um, Wholesale inventories, and then of course, Marvell, CrowdStrike, and Salesforce all on Thursday. So those are very important too. The biggest one is going to be Nvidia, but Marvell is like a big runner up. Okay, so Marvell, um, and then Friday, we got a couple of things happening on Friday, but. just some things to look for. There are some additional earnings also taking place into it. Zoom, Dix, and Best Buy taking place on Tuesday. You got those three. Just some ones that I actually like: Williams Sonoma, HP, Okta, because we cover HP, so I just figured we'd get back into that. And Williams Sonoma, I happen to like that company, and I happen to like their stock. Workday, Dollar General, Affirm, Dollar Tree, and Ulta Beauty. Those are things that you can also expect in terms of the heat map in here. I'm not really sure if the heat map actually updates because it's on a daily. I'm pretty sure it's going to look different if I were to drop it down, but you won't get all of the information that you need. But it is showing whether it was today or another day. You can see that Nvidia was down, Apple was down, AVGO was a little bit of a bounce there. Amazon down a bit in here as well, and Google up slightly. Whatever positions I had open over the weekend, I closed them all out. I had Apple open on a long, I had Google open on a long, and I had Intel open on a long. Um, who else did I have? MU. Oh, it's a long as well. I had something else. I'm thinking I had something else open on long. But anyway, I closed it all out over the weekend on Friday. As markets were closed on Friday, I just didn't want to sit through any drama, and I didn't want to wake up and, you know, after, and tell you, I will disappear when some bad stuff happened. And Solana's just broke me. So I just closed out. I closed out um, on a bunch of things. So AMD looks like it's slightly up a little bit. I do want to take a look at that chart. I'm not going to oh man, don't do this to me. Come on, man. It's just a second off of this freaking chart. Just a second off of this chart. And they already don't rewrote my script and everything. Let me see if I can't fix this. Freaking, it's about to put you over here on this. My MU alert went off, so I guess I'm gonna put this one on MU. Dang it. Every time. Nvidia. Let's see. ESP 2 dominance. Give me just a second. TradingView did some sort of refresh thing on me that just change my chart. All right, sorry. I just had to come back in here and do a couple of things. So I think it's this alert right here that keeps going off because of MU. If you got it, like I said, I wasn't sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if MU is going to reject that, the Golden Pocket 786, but I did say you may want to, you know, it might do that, and it could just be looking to put in a lower high after you got that move up. I mean, sniper entry once again, but Golden Pocket 786 rejection, blah, 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 blah. That's where we at. I can delete this. It might be this alert that just keeps going off too. So I'm going to delete that, but it's back at the point of control right now. Given that it's starting to slip momentum down there, that could have just been your lower high. You won't know unless it breaks down right here. But if you took the short there, then I hope it works out for you. I really do. Same thing would have been for SNDK. Short still in play on SNDK if you took the short play for SNDK. Trying to get, okay, so we're at the volume fixed, sorry, the fair value gap. got VRPP stuck in my head. So the fair value gap, but was looking for just a little bit more to go if it gets there. Looking forward to tap onto the this order block right here. Since they're both together, the fair value gap and that order block, you're almost there to this trend line right here. So big ups to anybody who took that saying this short. I hope it's doing well for you. I didn't take it. I don't take everything I post. It's really good because my emotions aren't in it. We talked about the fact that it was rejecting off of this anchor VWAP from the last touch that we had here off of this ascending trend line right here. That didn't look too special. AMD, seeing that was up a little bit in here. So let's take a look at that. But still down, still sideways and ranging sideways. I tell you again, what I want for AMD, I don't want it right now. But if I could get it back down here, that would be great. Major VWAP down here as well with the ascending trend line of momentum. So some bigger pullback on this would be really, really nice to have. But right now, I do want it to pop up a little bit, a little bit. Not sure if it's going to work out right here. I was seeing something in the chart. Was it coming from the 24? Maybe if it didn't delete it. Yeah, it was coming from the 24, but it looks like it's not working. Yeah, it was coming from the 24 after the swing failed. I thought maybe it was going to try to swing back up here again, but it might not happen. May have to wait on again something much lower. We did a whole breakdown here on AMD though, and whatever happens with Nvidia, it's probably affecting price action here too. So we knew that this was a good place right here. This had already taken place, and the analysis just letting you know probably going to struggle though. You're still going to struggle because you can tell where the resistance was coming in here for super microcomputer, not super microcomputer, AMD. Then the next one is going to be right in here. I'm not going to cover all of that analysis again. Maybe when I get into Nvidia tomorrow, because I'm not going to do a full breakdown on Nvidia today. But this is what I really want to see is this right here. The return right here would be really nice for a buy-in on AMD. I stand by that. Intel, like I said, I closed out the Intel long. I could tell that we're going to put in the bear div. I did say that the other day when I was looking at it too, that we're going to put in the bear div, period. We're just going to put in the bear div. And so it did that. It put in the bear div and it came, it's at the golden pocket. Golden pocket something right now. Hold on. Yeah. Golden pocket 786 right now is within that after it got the little breakup right here to fail from the resistance. I guess it's flipping into resistance now. And just look for it to roll this little happy behind right on down here until about 85, 81. I had closed that out already anyway, so thank goodness because it's failing. What do I have in here? That makes me want to buy. That right there just makes me want to buy. Probably ain't gonna look like that on 24, but that makes me want to buy it. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Nvidia is gonna have an impact on everything. I promise to give you guys some better analysis tomorrow, because you'll have a day before that Nvidia stuff kicks in. Take a look at SpaceX. All right, so we're still holding up on our first pivot here on SpaceX, but we did have the unlocks that took place. Again, I'm really impressed that it's not falling over a little bit more, and that it's managing to hold up right now. There's no buys for me in here, none whatsoever. Anywhere down to here is no buys for me. The only place I'd be interested in buying again is on a 1-to-1, and I'm gonna leave it, even though it's technically. I mean, yeah, it still is technically can still be considered a 1-to-1, but I'm gonna need for it to come back down there, and then I'll be interested in buying some more. So it's a DCA plan for me, and I'm not DCAing up, I'm DCAing down. So it has to come down in order for me to want to buy. But holding up pretty good right there, which means oil is doing what? Okay, so the rejection that we got on oil at the gap fill and the breakdown below the trend line. Now let me see it from here. Just wanna, because I know the data is delayed by a good 15 minutes. This is annoying. I don't want to have to pay for this. I might have to because it really is putting a damper in my day. I'd rather use the actual thing than the USDT pair. I just can't do the USDT pair. Um, so I can't really tell what's happening with this thing, man. Break on the momentum. Um, could swing back up. The back test is breakdown right here. Could swing back up, the back test it, and then get a continuation to the downside. I would look for that because this doesn't match unless some actual volume comes in and pushes it down a little bit harder. And I would look at this right here as my first support. If it breaks, let it break and then let it come back and show you that it's gonna have some interest in trying to hold it. So it's wherever bodies land for me. You want to dig up, want to find the bodies. That's what you'll be looking at right there. Spy. Yeah, that never happened, which is cool. It was, I wanted to be as far out as I could be if it was going to be something. Um, and it didn't happen. But anyway, it's at the rejection place. It's a whole zone. I usually don't do zones. Not like, I mean, I do, but I usually have like something in here that shows me something different. And yeah, it was between that and up there. So shoot, I just went with that. Um, Not like I was going to take a short. If it were to come back down here, I would look to see how this reacts on this line right here. We know that we had broke through it before, but for the most part, it was a solid trend line. I would just look for it to do what it did before, unless this regression line right here actually turns into a breakout, which it looks like there it is so far. So continuation to the downside here for SPY. Um, like I said, I'm not gonna really do Nvidia today. You can see it lost VWAP though. So this was your VWAP, anchor VWAP off of your low. It did lose that. I was looking at this. Hold on, gotta change that because we don't do that. We don't do that. We do that. And I don't think it came anywhere close to him. Yeah, it didn't come anywhere close to him. I think that maybe that's why I had it set on the one in here. But anyway, I don't do that. Um, Below this VWAP though, for sure, there was no other. I don't think I had anything else. If I did, it was through here. If I did, it was most certainly through here. Yeah. Yeah, it was through here. And so the VWAP must have been running across these lows right here, and then it gapped down below it. I'm just assuming that that's what happened. It's not really a touch point. It's not really, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah, so VWAP would have been running down, but why are you on? Oh, because this is on. My bad. And VWAP was likely running down below here, and then it gapped down below it. So I guess it's still usable even though it didn't touch it. I like to see it. Oh, maybe that's because of this. It was because of that. I didn't have it on the right. I didn't have it all the way down there. All right, so makes sense now. Makes sense. All right. And this is similar to what I'm saying. Look out for on oil. Look for it to come back up and reject and then get the move down. But below the VWAP right now, unless it reclaims VWAP, I will be looking for a continuation down. And then maybe you can turn on those other ones and look and see if they came in somewhere right about in here. Or just do your, what was in here? 35 on 4. Mean reversion on daily. So maybe your daily does hold. Um, Maybe daily does hold. Hasn't tapped here yet. That I could just leave it with that instead of looking at the ribbon right here. Yeah, it lines up it perfectly with it too. Yeah, so that's going to be your mean reversion right there at two. Just say two. I was going to say 214. Yeah, 214. It's 230, 214.43 right now, but that's your mean reversion on your daily. So yeah, that looks pretty decent right there. Um, for some sort of a potential bounce. And if that doesn't happen for Nvidia, then their next one would be at 209.98. Okay. The only ones that I can give you with some sort of certainty is going to be the orange, green, and the red. The other ones are speculative, but on a full retracement back down, you'd be somewhere around the 30 RSI, possibly down here at this trend line where you have your bigger one right here, which is also where you're going to have your 400, I mean your 200 it looks like. So on your EMA, if you was using the EMA, because everybody doesn't have the same ribbons, you were using, not that EMA, then your 200 runs down here with this momentum line right here, 200 all the way down here. And they're very close. They're very close to my ribbons right here. The EMA is. So that's why I always flip over to that just in case for anybody. But I'm not going to do a deep dive on this one today. I'm going to do it tomorrow to really scope out like what potentially could take place um, for Nvidia. We did a strong call right here the last time we got that, and we're looking for the liquidity to be. Was it that one or I'm not sure. But anyway, strong call. That's all I know. That's all I know. I know we did that thing. That's the VIX. USDT dominance in here. We knew that we were hitting some support. I turned these on and see that we had actually tapped, and so I was going to leave them as is. But if we were to get the full move, then we'd be looking for a lot lower based on the high to. I didn't adjust this. It would come lower than this, to be honest with you. But I left it how it was when I initially had this set for here, but we did the breakdown and we struggled and reclaimed. So it was adjusted after that and placed on here. And then you can see where the breakdown took place from. But at support, of course, and then Bitcoin is at some resistance right now. Can it come in further? Sure, it can. Same way Bitcoin can go up higher. It just did a bounce off standard deviation one. Bitcoin did as we're tightening down on this potential support range here for USDT dominance, but it did do a standard deviation one bounce. So it's trading in the pocket right now, going back up for that VWAP deviation 2 for Bitcoin. And then, of course, we covered this in depth on Friday. This was the start of the bull market in 2022, 2023. All right, this was the start of money, capital really rotating out of USDT and into Bitcoin was right here, and we broke it over here. So same situation right here. From the start of this low right here, we held, it held, it held, it held, and now it has broken with the bear div, all the similarities are all there, just like before. Looks exactly like it did back here, 2022 to 2023. Exactly the same process, the same from that low. This held all the way through until we got the breakdown, and then that was all she wrote, and just continued down from there and into the macro trend line right here. This is the macro one, and you can see right here that tap to that tap right there gives you that tap and that tap right there. So what does that mean for Bitcoin? 100,000 ain't happening. I don't know. A new high ain't happening. I don't know. No, that's not what that means. But yeah, I mean, it could be that, we've started the bull, that the bottom is in, especially given everything else that I mentioned to you. You just got a few days left. Got a few days left. I don't care if the bottom ain't in or not. We know the top ain't in, right? We know the top on Bitcoin is not in. And like I said, standard deviation 2 bounce here off of Bitcoin. I mean, one standard deviation 1 bounce off of Bitcoin took place right there. We're trading in between that. So we might come up and push up a little bit higher in here this go round. We'll see what happens. But um, I do need to make my move, people, and I am so. Oh, I said 8. I said 8:30. I'm coming up on 8:30, so I am gonna have to make my move. Um, I'm only 5% in on this short. I will add to my invalidation point, and it invalidates me. I'm not gonna still be in it. That's for sure. I'm gonna assume that this 400 is gonna mean something. I'm going to assume that that 400 that runs across here, I mean a little bit more up here to tap into this VWAP as well. But I'm going to assume that that is going to mean something. If it just starts breaking through here, I'm a short again. I'm a short again. I will be stopped out of this short, but I promise you, I will short again. I'm short again. And it's not that I'm bearish, because I'm not bearish. I'm not bearish. I'm bullish. I just, I don't know. It's just FOMO. It's FOMO. It's FOMO right now. People feeling like they missed out. Because they didn't take the loan where it looked like you should have taken the loan at. And you had weeks. That's the crazy thing. Like, you know how many weeks you had to be in a loan position? Like, just look. It's 4 weeks in a month. It's 4 weeks in a month. Look how long we sat here. We came down to here. Look how long we sat there, holding the support. Holding the support. That's how long you had to take a loan and just sit on it. With the bullish divergence, with the tap into the ascending trend line, pivot to pivot, tap into trend line, and just held that. And then we started to hold here around this point of control. I mean, value area low. No, that's point of control. Yep, point of control. And we came back above it. And then, I mean, that's just all the time you had to consider the loan with the bull divs, man. Like, come on. With the bull divs. With the bull divs. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it's the low. God dang. Doesn't matter if it's the low. It shows strength. So you buy it. You stop your shenanigans right now, Bitcoin. You stop it right now. Right now. But I gotta go. I love and appreciate you. I want us all to do good. And don't forget, I just lost an account. I just lost an account. So and it ain't coming back. I spent these last few minutes right here looking at this move. I haven't actually looked at ETF inflows or you know what? I should do that. Uh, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of big strike prices in here for bidding. It's a lot. And this data hasn't updated. I'm just looking at it off of bar chart. As you can see all these big strike prices through here. Biggest one currently was sitting over here at $40 on IBIT. These are pretty evened out right through here. It's usually you're looking for a pushback down. Yeah, it's call heavy, that's for sure. Hey, daughter. That's right. 38. Yeah, pushing back down below 40 would be ideal. So about 45 on call, huh? There she goes. Yeah. After I get stopped out of salon at this time, I'm done messing with it. Them wicks is serious on Solana. I don't want to play around with nothing that's wicky. It's the only one that I'm looking at where you got these crazy wicks on it. It has crazy wicks everywhere for some reason. I don't know if it's because of meme coins or what it is, but these crazy wicks on Soul is just not something I want to play around with anymore. It's not performing good against Bitcoin either. It's not. I saw Litecoin was. Litecoin is outperforming Bitcoin dominance pretty well. It was at the top of, the list of things that I have in terms of against Bitcoin. It was up here. Let me just adjust it. ETH dominance is looking really strong. Yeah, ETH dominance was looking good. Litecoin was up there. It's down below dominance now. So everything is trading against Bitcoin or trading with Bitcoin dominance right now. So Bitcoin go, they all gonna go. But Ethereum dominance is looking pretty good. I forgot I wanted to look at that, but I'm gonna have to put a pin in that right there. Maybe I post on that on X, on Ethereum dominance right now. Bitcoin dominance is definitely up, and everything else is down below it. We know Tether's below it, stablecoin dominance below it. Not too bad because it's still trying to hold on to being in the green, but it was up like 3 something% against Litecoin was up like three something% against Bitcoin dominance earlier this morning. But as we get ready for market open here, slightly in a bit, you see Solana. That's Solana versus ETH. Solana versus BTC. I didn't even look at Ethereum. Holy crap! I didn't even look at Ethereum. My bad, people. I didn't even look at it. But everything else is yeah. Even Aave. Good lord, this doesn't work anymore. I'm gonna get rid of that. Aave against Bitcoin is looking trashy. Hyperliquid. So that means Ethereum must be looking pretty good. Yeah, Ethereum is not looking bad at all. Did y'all see these wicks that Solana keep doing? I don't want to play around with this. Like, I ain't got time for this. Like, that's what wick. Man, I just can't. No, I ain't playing with Solana no more. No more. All right, 336. I'm sorry. I love and appreciate you guys, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I will be sure that I am here tomorrow to go over Nvidia in details, and hopefully something great comes up in the chart where I can post something more. But right now, this is just what I'm watching right now. See how we do with this until we can manage to leave this range. Again, the WAPs keep turning up ever so slightly in here, which means that there is some volume coming in. So these are trying to turn up a little bit higher. But I'm just gonna keep watching this area right here. Resistance, we're still at resistance regardless. Regardless, if it comes up and it takes this liquidity, does a swing fail, whatever. We're at resistance. We're at resistance for Bitcoin. Just want to see it cool off and do a mean reversion. Just want to see it do that. Just want to see a little bit of a cool off. I just can't. I just want to see it cool off a little bit. I want to see this cool off some through here. Let's see if we get it when market opens. I love you. I appreciate you. And again, I see you tomorrow.